What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got another Brawl list for you guys. This one we're taking a look at a Selesnya Auras. And of course, when you think of a Selesnya Aura Commander, you automatically think of Calyx Destiny's Hand, which is a pretty powerful card. But as you can see, we're actually running it just as part of our main. Our commander here is actually Siona, Captain of the Pyleas. While not technically as good a card as Calyx, in some ways, at least in like the Brawl format, I think it's actually better. So I kind of want to highlight that. And with Core 21, we did get not a ton of enchantment and aura synergy, but we got a couple new cards that I think add a really nice power level to this deck. So Siona, Captain of the Pyleas, is a 3-mana 2/2. It's 1 green and white. And when she enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards, and we get to reveal an aura card from among them and put it into our hand. The rest go on the bottom of our library. And whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a creature you control, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. So the nice thing about the the 1/1s is they can kind of jump block for you while you're swinging in with your equipped or aura'd up creatures, and just kind of hopefully getting through for damage that way. And then when you have those 1/1s kind of back to hold down the fort and preserve your life total, protect your Calyx if you have one down, that kind of thing. And so that's about Siona versus Calyx. Siona is only 3 men, whereas Calyx is 4. And Siona represents an actual threat. She's a creature, she can actually attack in and deal damage and kind of close out games on her own in some cases. So we're gonna kind of go over the list real quick. If you've seen these Aura decks, it's probably not too much unfamiliar, but we're gonna kind of go over it quickly, just kind of review kind of what we're trying to do here. So of course, Alseid of Life's Bounty we've seen in these Aura decks. It's an enchantment creature, so that's going to synergize well with what we're trying to do, and that it protects our creatures either from removal or making them unblockable because they get protection from a color of our choice. And obviously, we'd have to be careful if our opponent is running white as well, and they go to Banishing Light one of our creatures, and we give it protection from white. There's a bunch of white R's on it. Well, all those white R's are going to fall off. So something to keep in mind in certain situations. Glaring Aegis is an aura. Whenever it enters the battlefield, we tap target creature and opponent control. So it's a nice tempo play. And enchanted creature we control gets the +1/+3. So even if we don't have good attacks yet, it at least gives our creature a nice toughness boost and makes it harder for your opponent to attack into you. And of course, running all these auras, you need some protection spells. So we have God's Willing and Karametra's Blessing. They're pretty similar effects. God's Willing just gives protection from the color of your choice, so same thing with Alseid. And we get to scry one, which is a nice little bonus. Karametra's actually gives us hexproof and indestructible, as long as that creature is enchanted or an enchantment creature. So we'd have obviously some creatures here that are not enchantment creatures, and we do need to get some enchantments on them before we actually get this benefit. But just having the +2/+2 can certainly be nice in a lot of situations on its own, even disregarding the hexproof and indestructible side of it. Pious Wayfarer is another way for us to kind of get some benefits from playing enchantments, as whenever any enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And then it's just a 1-mana 1/2, so that's pretty solid. Sentinel's Eyes, of course, is just a fantastic aura, +1/+1 in Vigilance, and then you can escape it for white and exiling 2 other cards. All the glitters just makes your enchanted creature just super big. +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. Angelic Gift gives our creature flying and draws us a card. Eidolon of Obstruction is a enchantment creature. 2/1 first strike, so that's pretty decent. And loyalty abilities of planeswalkers your opponent's control cost 1 more to activate. So typically, you just play a planeswalker, boom, you activate its ability. Well, now you have to pay for the planeswalker, and you have to pay 1 mana just to activate its ability. So it kind of throws off your opponent's math if they tap out to drop their planeswalker, especially if it's like their commander. Well, now you have to wait till your next turn if you have mana to actually use, thanks to the attacks from Eidolon of Obstruction. So that can be pretty nice in certain situations. Flutterfox is a 2/2 for 2. However, as long as you control an artifact or enchantment, Flutterfox has flying. So it gives us a nice evasive threat, and we're definitely going to have enchantments. So removal here in the form of Pacifism, enchanted creature can't attack or block. Starfield Mystic, enchantment spells cost 1 less to cast, and whenever enchantment you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, we get a +1/+1 counter on the Mystic. So just fantastic synergy there. And the Envoy, similar effect here. Aura spells cost 1 less to cast. Of course, Starfield Mystic is any enchantment. Transcendent Envoy specifically counts auras, but this is a 1/2 flyer, so that's pretty reasonable. Nice evasive threat potentially. The Destiny Spinner is a 2/3 enchantment creature where creatures and enchantments can't be countered. And then you can turn a land into XX Elemental with Trample and Haste, where X is equal to the number of enchantments you control. So it gives us a nice extra creature here to kind of help close out games. And here's one of our two key new cards here, Heroic Intervention, of course, from M21. Permanents you control get hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So yeah, once you get your, we're trying to find that right balance of creatures and auras to kind of power through. And so you definitely need all the protection you can get. And so Heroic Intervention is a fantastic way to do that, in addition to our Karametra's Blessing and God's Willing. Nessian Wanderer, just a 1/3 for 2. However, when enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top 3 cards, and we can reveal a land from among them, put it into our hand. The rest go to the bottom of our library. So our curve is pretty low, but we still want to kind of thin the deck, make sure we curve out and get the lands we need, especially in a Brawl type format. You don't get to run 4 Temple Gardens, 4 Temple Plenty, and all that. You're stuck to one of any non-basic. So Nessian Wanderer can help us fix our mana base, as well as just kind of curving out as well. In addition to, of course, thinning the deck. Setessan Skirmisher is a nice aggressive threat here. It's a 2/1 for 2. Not super impressive, however, when enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So that can obviously stack pretty nicely in certain situations. Setessan Training, of course, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and a creature gets +1/+0 and trample. So obviously, we know once we get a creature down, we get some auras on it, we can give it training with Setessan Training and really punch through for a bunch of damage. Bronzehide Lion, 3/3 for 2. We can pay the casting cost basically to give it indestructible end of turn, and when it dies, we return to the battlefield as an aura enchantment, and that creature also has the activated ability to give it indestructible. So that's pretty sweet. We also got Banishing Light, of course, the utility removal, and then we're running a Dreadful Apathy as another sort of pacifism effect. It's 3 mana. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. However, it does have this ability where you can pay 3 and exile enchanted creature. So just because it can't attack or block, there's some activated or triggered abilities attached to that creature. And so we can just play the Dreadful Apathy, so at least the creature can't attack or block. And then once we have mana open and we need to really get rid of it permanently, we can just pay 3 and exile that creature as well. So it's a little bit expensive in that regard, but it's kind of a necessary evil because we're in a Brawl type of format. But it can be really useful in a lot of situations. Heliod's Pilgrim is a 1/2 for 3 mana. However, when it enters, we get to search for an aura card, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your library. So we can search for a removal spell, we can search for a Setessan Training, whatever aura we need to help us close out the game, all the glitters, things like that. Prison Realm is kind of a second copy of Banishing Light. Of course, this hits only creatures or planeswalkers, but that's still plenty irrelevant. And when it enters, we get to scry 1, which is a nice little bonus as well. And of course, Hydra's Growth is a fantastic little option here. +1/+1 counter, and then doubling the number of counters on enchanted creature. We don't have a ton of counter synergy in this particular build, so it's not as good as it could be. But we definitely have some creatures, like the Setessan Champion and things like that can definitely benefit from this quite a bit. Nexus Wardens is a 1/4 with reach, and whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under control, we gain 2 life. So if your opponent gets off to a really fast start, we do have the 4 toughness and it does have a reach, which is something we're a little bit lacking on. As far as defending against flyers, we have this Setessan, the Transcendent Envoy, which has flying, and the Angelic Gift. So we have just a little bit, but Nexus Warden is another way to help us protect against flyers with the 4 toughness, or against any kind of aggro deck. But also, if your opponent does get off to a fast start, they kind of go wide, getting that life gain can be really important in a lot of situations. Nyx Herald is another way for us to kind of get trample through. It's an enchantment creature for 3 mana, 2/3, and at the beginning of combat, enchanted creature or enchantment creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. And of course, the Setessan Champion, which we all know and love, 1/3 for 3. Anytime enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, we get a +1/+1 counter on the champion and draw a card. Iroan Games, this is a nice saga here. We get a 1/1 human token, then we get 3 +1/+1 counters on one of our creatures, and then we get to draw a card as long as we have a creature with power 4 or greater. So with all of our auras, with the counters, things like that, we should definitely have at least one creature down that has power 4 or greater. So it's just here for that additional card advantage, and it's an enchantment as well. Of course, Archon of Sun's Grace, another way to kind of profit off of having all these enchantments in our deck, 3/4 flying and lifelink. And whenever enchantment enters the battlefield under control, create a 2/2 white Pegasus creature token with flying. So just the Archon of Sun's Grace can kind of take over games sometimes. And of course, those Pegasus have lifelink. Another new card from Core 21. It's pretty key, I think, especially in this format. Faith's Fetters, a 4 mana aura. We enchant a permanent And when enters the battlefield, we gain 4 life, which is, it's pretty decent. However, that enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're a mana ability. So enchant permanent. So we can basically remove a planeswalker with this, a creature, whatever, any permanent. So that's pretty sweet. And Arasta is an enchantment creature, 3/5 reach, and whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery, we get a 1/2 spider token with reach. So a little more protection against flyers, make more 1/2 bodies to kind of help hold down the fort. And we also got Mantle of Wolf here. It's a 4-mana aura. Enchanted creature gets +4/+4. And when put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create 2/2 green wolf creature tokens. So if they happen to kill your creature with this on, we used to get a couple wolf tokens out of it. So it kind of taxes your opponent's removal. And just a +4/+4 is pretty powerful. And of course, we are running the Calyx, 4-mana 4 loyalty. +1, look at the top 4 cards. You can reveal enchantment from among them, put it into your hand, and you can -3 to exile a creature or enchantment you don't control until target enchantment you control leaves the battlefield. So it's basically like turns any of your enchantments into a Banishing Light. And then -7, return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Super powerful. And finally, at the top end here, we have Cavalier of Dawn and Elspeth Conqueror's Death. Cavalier of Dawn is a 4/6 for 5 mana. When it enters, we destroy 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. And when it dies, return an artifact or enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. So just nice removal, in a sense, and getting enchantments back if your opponent has removal for it is pretty sweet. And just a 4/6 with Vigilance is pretty solid as well. And of course, Elspeth Conquers Death, fantastic saga here. First stage, exile any permanent on our opponent's side, mana 3 or greater. Then your non-creature spells from your opponent's side cast 2 more to cast, which if we throw off their math, because they're going to be running lots of non-creatures in a Brawl format, planeswalkers, removal, etc. And then we get one of our creatures or planeswalkers back with initial counter or loyalty counter. That's pretty sweet. So we're on just the basic 24 land package here. We have 1 Castle Ardenveld, just a little bit more of a late game presence here, making 1/1 tokens. 9 plains, since we are mostly skewed towards white. 8 forests, the 1 Blossoming Sands, Selesnya Guildgate, Temple Garden, and Temple of Plenty. Just make sure we have all the fixing, because we have, Cavalier, which is triple white, we have the Arasta, which is double green, and things like that. So just making sure we have the right mana at the right time as consistently as possible. And of course, Command Tower is a must in any sort of multicolored Brawl build, and then the Fabled Passage. Alright, that's the deck, and we'll jump into some matches, see how we do. Okay, up against Veto. Well, this hand seems pretty amazing. If we can keep this board state going. So 4th land, we can curve out to Calyx or Mantle of the Wolf, kind of depending on where we're at, if we need Calyx to come down and remove something. But otherwise, Envoy is a nice pick up here, but I still think we stick with the Flutterfox into Setessan and go from there. Spirit of Malevolence. It's one thing about Brawls, you see a lot of cards you don't normally see, and you have to play with cards you don't normally play with. So obviously Mantle of the Wolf, I've seen some play, but it's kind of hard at a 4-mana aura. Flutterfox. So let's just read what this does real quick. Whenever it dies, we lose a life and they gain a life. So this next is Warren's going to be pretty powerful as well. Can't attack into the 1/3, so we'll have to hold off on that. So we just need to kind of slow it down here and see if we can survive a few turns with the Revito triggers. Tavern Swimmer, that's a fun one. Yeah, we'll take that block. We need to deal with that at some point. Then we get a lot of incidental damage with the Veto. Alright, so we missed a green source. We do need this next Warden's down, though. I definitely want to get that down, but we also need to start pushing damage across at some point. So, I think we just need the next Wardens down just to protect us from Veto as much as possible. They do have the Mired Triton as well, so we're not really in any position to attack unless they start swinging in with it, and then that'll open their defenses a little bit. Okay, that's why they attacked. They wanted that trigger. You're just going to get it back anyway. Still seems like you could have maybe gotten better use out of the Omen of the Dead, maybe with like a Mire Triton. Okay, they go for the coin flip, and nothing. Okay, so we have the protection spell now. Well, we don't have any auras even to... Well, let's go with the Mantle on the Flutterfox, since it'll have flying, and we can start crashing for 6. We'll gain some life, and draw a card. So we're just going to have to kind of aggro our opponent. They're in mono black, so they're definitely going to have some removal, but if they're all in on these, the sort of life gain synergy, then the removal might be pretty kind of minimal. I mean, Omen of the Dead, I mean, Bastion makes sense. Omen's kind of whatever. I mean, Tavern Swindler is cute. So definitely glad we found the Nexus Wardens in this matchup. We'd like to find like a Banishing Light to maybe deal with the Bastion. Of course, the Tavern Swindler could be pretty nasty as well. I mean, we have Calyx that can kind of deal with that. I mean, they're going to start hitting with this Tavern Swindler. That's going to start dealing a bunch of damage at some point. I mean, kind of want to leave this God's Wooing open, but also feel like we need to kind of deal with this Tavern Swindler before it starts going off. Exile you, and put it under you. And if they want to kill Calyx, that's fine. And they're down to 10. I mean, they have life gain, but they are down to 10. So I think we're okay, but this could definitely change quickly depending on what they have. They're flooding out pretty hard here. It's like they have 7 swamps. We're missing a second green source, which means we can't play Arasta, but we still have plenty of playables, so that's fine. If they want to kill Calyx, just a Spirit of Malevolence, I think I'm fine blocking that. If they have a trick, then so be it. A Disfigure or something. I don't know why they're reading Veto. Sure, they just wanted to give it lifelink. Why not attacking with these guys? I guess they're just holding them back on defense. Alright, so when we untap, we'll plus with Calyx. Perfect. Just to see what we draw. Elspeth, that's pretty good. I'm scared of that Bastion before it does any more harm. They're going to get a lot of value off that. And we'll just keep swinging in the air. So they're trying to play the life gain game with Veto, and we just have to kind of outrace them in that sense. And so yeah, this next Warden has really saved us. Agonizing Remorse. I mean, we have plenty of playable cards, so they can take whatever. Obviously, we like the Skirmisher, or actually probably the God's Own is our most key card, since the Fox seems to be putting in the most damage. So probably just going to go Envoy, see what we draw. Or actually we'll plus Calyx, see what we draw. If we can equip this Flutterfox with anything, then we just win. Actually, Wayfarer into Envoy would also pump the Fox as well on the Wayfarer trigger. So we have lots of outs. 5-man open, mono black. Shouldn't be possible with the Murderous Rider or Murder. They're just going for a Veto activation. We'll take it. Flutterfox is kind of our key card right now, so if they want to do something with that, but they just go for the suicide, I guess. Sure. I don't think they had any flyers, do they? Nope. No flyers. Let's do this. If we can find something to equip. And that wins us the game. we'll just do it all because we can. Oh, oops. Got ahead of myself there. I was going to try to tap it down, but I wasn't paying attention that it was the Wayfarer +1 trigger still. Yeah, some pretty nice showing there. Wow, Pyleas. I don't think I've ever seen Pyleas as a commander. That's pretty ambitious. So a couple of mono black decks in a row. This hand seems reasonable. We have the Wanderer and Pilgrim, so we can kind of do lots of digging. The Wanderer down. What do we want to search with the Pilgrim? IR is pretty nasty. Probably want to deal with that. Of course, Banishing Light and whatnot, those are not auras. Guess we'll just go Siona here. We'll just see what we get. Mantle of the Wolf, okay. No attacks. So IR is interesting with Pyleas. I mean, it gives them some life gain since Pyleas represents life or loss, so they're probably doing trying to balance that. Mind Rot, that's pretty nasty. I don't think Pacifism isn't doing much on this board. The life gain matter. Probably, we'll say next Swords can probably go. I think we're just playing Mantle next turn. Oh, Prison Realm is pretty good. Yeah, let's deal with that IR. Sure. Next Herald. Do we need the... I mean, it's okay. Well, we're going to play another Aura here anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. That's going to trigger. I guess we'll Fable just to thin. Swing 3. Decent turn. So we need to find more of our big boy auras. Mantle is nice. We'll go and crack just to get some more basics out of the deck. We'll go for the Mantle on the lifelink creature, I think. And we'll save the Aegis. So, generally, equipping the Alseid is not ideal, because you have the option to sacrifice it to protect something else. But it doesn't seem like we need to worry about that too much in this matchup, even though it is mono black. But just from what they've done, it's been kind of a an interesting build, we'll say. Let's see, 3 mana. So let's find an Aura with this. See what we got. I honestly don't know what they get here. The training is nice. Probably just go for all the glitters. And I think we have lethal here. Or no, not quite. 9. Is that legal? I don't know. We'll see. Whew! That was exactly lethal. Wow. Wow, that was nice. Alright, up against Tezzeret. It's a bit slow, but it could be pretty reasonable, especially if we have a Apathy target on 3. So yeah, we'll Fabled into Plains. Get our Wander down on 2. Hope they give us something to Apathy, just to get some value off the Wanderer. And just kind of go from there. And then we can kind of get a second white source for the Archon, and eventually Cavalier. But if they're just on like a, this could be a very controlling build. They typically are. Just all the good artifacts that make sense, along with the removal, and maybe a couple counter spells in Dimir colors, which are certainly no shortage of those. The one good thing is it is a 6 mana Planeswalker, so we have some time to kind of get set up and get going. But we'll see. Sometimes these decks just kind of curve out with exactly what they need. Of course, you can't recurve out if you don't actually play the game. Are we ready to go? It's kind of weird that no pet, and then all of a sudden just popped up. So I'm guessing one of us has a slow connection here, and that's why we're seeing a delay. I do have the nice Soul Ring sleeves, which seem pretty thematic. I won't wait on the field with passage, just out of habit. Generally better just give your opponent less information. It might have some small influence, although not so much in Brawl, where your opponent kind of knows what you're already doing. Castle Vantress. There's our 4th land and a 2nd white source. That is perfect. Of course, we don't have anything with Apathy, and we'll just Siona and dig for something. Either play is pretty reasonable. And then we'll curve out with Archon on 4. And just kind of see where we're at from there. Emergent Zone. That's pretty cute. So you can sack it to play it Flash. Arcane Signet makes sense, yep. I'm not sure how much value you're actually going to get out of the Emergent Zone, though. Hydra's Growth it is. Oh, misclick. Well, 1 point of damage. Lost to Eternity. Field of the Dead. Wow, so you're running just kind of a whole suite of removal spells? Or lands, I should say. This makes it awkward to cast your removal spells if you're kind of jamming weird lands like that, but maybe they're just all in on the artifacts. I guess that would explain the Scalding Cauldron, which is it's a card. So up to 4 lands, 4 different types. We're definitely not very good at go wide strategies, but we can, you know, we have the Archon and we have ways to give trample, so we're not in a terrible spot as far as that goes. Won't mind another land here to play multiple spells, Bronzehide, and then either Nyx Herald or Hydra's Growth. Probably want to get the Hydra's Growth going, get those counters started. Mirror Maid, going to copy a Arcane Signet for some ramp. So they're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands. So they'll definitely have the option to play Tezzeret next turn. But I think they could have played it this turn if they wanted to, because yeah, they copied Arcane Signet, which means they already had exactly 6 mana open to them. Turn your Scaldron into a 1/1. Cool. Well, Hydra's Growth on the Archon, that's our best value. There's a land. I think we'll actually go and play that, get this Bronzehide Lion down. Certainly could run in like some sweepers. Let's deal with Karn. Okay. So I'm guessing they didn't have much going on in their hand, and without a Karn to kind of give them some advantage, they decided to pack it in. Up against Obosh. Okay, you don't see Obosh very often. It's a bit awkward, but we do have 3 lands, so I think we'll keep it. Just Guild Gates on 1. Get the Alseid on turn 2 into Siona. Hopefully find some more lands here. Steel Claw lands. Okay, that's interesting. Destiny Spinner. We'll just go, let's go Siona, mana efficient, and dig for Aegis. Sure. Attack 1, gain some life. So we have Banishing Light, Spinner, Aegis, all open to us next turn. Spellgorger. That's cute. So 4 mana open now. If they're running equipment, then probably just want to keep their board free of creatures. I think Aegis does too much in this spot, so we'll save it. They can probably play Obosh next turn, which we have Fetters and Elspeth to deal with that. Yeah, they can swing 2 here in the air, no problem. Fabled Passage, perfect. We're gonna have a couple forests, so we'll just grab another plains. Alright, how do we want to deal with this Phoenix? Elspeth feels pretty good here. We'll just do that. If it has escape, we can make it not escape. Swing 3, which isn't much, but once we get some auras going, we can do quite a bit more. And if they just go Obosh, then we just Faith Fetters. So I got the benefit of its ability here with the permanence odd card or odd mana cost, dealing double the damage. But I can't attack or block, which is nice. Terror of the Peaks. That is pretty scary. Not gonna lie. So they've had a lot of threats we've need to deal with. So I mean, if they play a creature next turn, then they can obviously make our life pretty difficult. So I think we just suit up this Siona. Push for damage and leave Alseid open for protection if they do draw into something. Creature here, which most likely they will, to trigger this Terror of the Peaks, so it just kind of depends on what it is. Flame Soul is only doing 4 damage, so maybe we should have waited there. It probably would have been better to just to wait for the second spell. But if they're going red, that means they're going for burn damage anyways. And now with 3 mana open, now they can hit for 7 in the air. Archon is pretty good. Pretty good. Let's training first, draw a card. So now we're at parity here. I mean, if they don't have creatures, then I think we just go for the Archon of Sun's Grace. We're a little vulnerable here. This Terror of the Peaks is a real card. Shock. A risk factor. We will, let's see. If you decline, we'll take that action. They can do it again. Nope. So now we get some counters going. We'll drop the Spinner. We'll drop the Herald. So not our best draws here. We are growing a bunch of counters. These aren't really doing much good, so let's push through and just really force the issue here. I mean, they kind of have to block the Siona, so these get through for 3 damage, plus whatever we trample through for. So down to 3. We got rid of that Terror, which is pretty critical. And thanks to Obosh, it dealt quite a bit of damage. But we have the Siona coming down next turn, and it's only 5 mana. And we have all the mana already. And a pretty good board state. So we can't gain life anymore thanks to Tybalt. They can make a 1/1 to block. Last card, they need something special here. They did not equip. They're still Claw Lance. So they're holding up a removal spell. Well, let's Siona, see what we draw. See if that forces their last card. Let's go for the glitters. The Spinner, I guess. See if that gets the removal spell out of their hands. It's got a removal spell, right? Put the trample there. Swing all. We can ignore Tybalt. It's got a removal spell. Why did you not equip the lance? They just gave up. Sweet. So yeah, a little scary there with the Terror of the Peaks and lack of auras, but we got there. We got there. All right, gonna wrap it up right there. Yeah, I played a few games with this beforehand. Got it refined pretty nicely, and feels great to me. As I've had a lot of fun in the games I have played with it. Don't think it really needs. Where do we go? Doesn't really need too much in the way of improvements, I don't think. I saw the value we got off Siona, making those 1/1s, even against the Obosh matchup. And of course, a lot of the aura synergies paid off quite nicely. I feel like this deck just has the right kind of balance of them. Creatures and auras and everything. And of course, Alseid putting in work still. The protection spells were pretty nice, and yeah, just enough synergy that I think it works out pretty well. I think the games kind of speak for themselves. It's definitely fun to see some interesting Brawl commanders you don't normally see. Definitely I've seen Tezzeret before, but Villas I've not seen before. And Vito, of course, see some play now thanks to you know, all the life gain synergy that's in standard, but you know. Still pretty cool to see a mono black, a couple mono black lists like that. Yeah, so definitely a fun list. Nice to see that Siona proved herself, even when you have cards like Calyx, which typically see that slot as the commander in the style of deck. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, make sure you jank with